and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 707, Little Orphan Annie, First Kill.
Hello.
Oh, that's a movie. I mean, hey, if we can get Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
What a weird... How does that happen?
Because it fell into the public domain.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Look for the Real Spoilers Winnie the Pooh short films coming out soon.
Oh, yeah, right. Wizard of Oz, we could do that.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz has been out there forever.
We could do Frankenstein and the Wolfman and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, we could make our own, what would you call it, like a monster?
Couldn't be any worse than what they did.
Well, it can be worse than Monster Squad.
Wait a minute, that's not what I meant.
Was that a computer?
Yeah.
Because that was weird.
No, that's not what I meant.
And so we are joined this week by Real Joe, not, as we like to call him, Faux Joe.
Faux Joe. Oh,
Wait
I
a
like
minute.
that.
He wasn't here last week?
Yeah.
Surprise.
Oh.
Wasn't
I think
me.
so we used computer software to emulate your voice.
It's too eerie, man.
It did really good, except sometimes it sounded like you were reading, and people were like, Joe can't read.
Yeah, we know better.
Yeah.
He just tries to wing it.
Yeah.
He doesn't take notes. It did, honestly, what it sounded like is I pre-recorded it,
Yeah.
and then Kevin spliced it in.
Which
like,
worked out great, which is why I was telling Tom the fact that we were having technical issues because we're testing recording video this week.
Right.
We were setting up for about an hour and getting everything right. And so when he said we're having technical issues, I'm like, well, that's perfect. I'll keep that in and I'll make it so that people will think, oh, well, Joe dropped off and then he re-recorded the synopsis.
Sure. That
So
totally makes sense.
I think the through line of that helped. Oh, technical difficulties.
I think if I hadn't known what was going on, it was pretty. It's too eerie how it sounds just like me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you reading a script or something.
Not a fan.
Yeah. But it was a pretty good episode.
No.
Come on.
It was. Yeah, you guys did awesome. I'm sorry that I dropped the ball
And you
went
missed
out of town.
You missed an opportunity to set a record.
Oh, did I really?
To completely blow up the Brad Hyan rule. You could have shared that episode and
I guess that's true.
been in
I
the
was
League of
gonna
Show
ask.
Sharers and have been on an
Oh,
episode.
It's a
man.
whole new.
Maybe I'll share it now.
It's
Let me do it real quick.
It's a brave new world.
Yeah,
Share
you
right
really
now.
dropped the ball there. I was thinking it would be a whole new rule.
Look, man, I was out of town and I had no cell service. And then when I got back into town, it was like, oh, by the way, we're going to blow your phone up. I had like 400 emails, and texts, and message, all kinds of stuff.
So let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. It's probably easy to fake me because I'm so monotone anyway.
Well, that's the problem. Is somebody doesn't know. We get it all the time. Wow, is that Tom? Is that Joe? I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't figure it out.
Shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave a review. That's always helpful. You can also find us on the Facebook, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. The group is called the League of Show Sharers because we're hoping you will share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode last week and, as you might recall, the week before.
If you're following along at home.
Yes. Include Librarian Cynthia, Gabriel Lugo, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts. I'm starting to think she only got married so she could have a longer name to take up even more time in the League of Show Sharers. That's my current
I like it.
theory.
I like it.
Julianne Jordan, Chris Falls, Ralph Tribble, Heather Sachs, Travis Tewitt, Chris Magic Man, Josh Rosen, Christopher Rex, David Rojas, Vertigay 314, Matt Naglia, L is Not Well, Batman, Rye Guy, Ronnie Castle, Binge Movies, In Session Film, Geek to Me Radio, Ryan Terry from the Forza Crowd podcast, Invasion of the Remake, Mike and Oscar, Feel and Film, Control X, Spoiler Piece Theater, Minorities Report, and Chris Williams. And allegedly Joe has just shared, but I cannot verify.
I haven't
that.
yet.
But
He didn't even do it.
I retract that then. But you missed a wonderful opportunity.
I did. I didn't even think of
to
the
torment Brad
Yes,
Hyan.
to circumvent the Brad Hyan rule.
And we all know how we love to torment Brad Hyan. It's
the best.
It is the best.
It is the
It's,
best.
America's favorite national
That's
pastime.
the best.
Oh, also we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and you help us out, and we like you extra.
That's right. We're done. We have finished the Evil Dead.
Patreon's over. Do not subscribe.
Please don't.
It's done.
Wait a minute.
Per Joe.
We just had to buy a whole bunch of cameras and software. No, take it back.
So just if you are of the Patreon, just keep an eye out on the Patreon page, and I'm gonna throw a poll up there since we finished the Evil Dead about what's next, what you want us to do next.
For the people.
Matt threw out an idea of doing Hellraiser, and I said no because there's like 10 of them, and only 3 of them went to theaters. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So I want nothing to do with that.
Like Slapshot.
Well, wait.
There's like 2 Slapshots.
Is there really?
That are direct
There's
video.
like
Yeah.
2.
But there's the. Oh, you're saying there's 2 sequels?
Yeah, direct to video.
Misbegotten sequels.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
those are because man, Slapshot is wonderful.
Oh yeah.
So
It's
good.
very of its time.
It is. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hold
It's
on.
like it's like the Bad News Bears.
Right.
Right. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't be giving free advertising to these guys.
Okay. Also, don't cancel the Patreon. We got to buy stupid mic cubes.
Yeah. Come on.
But
we
no,
have-
like pay attention to the Patreon if you have the app or even online, and there'll be a poll, and you guys can decide what you want us to do next.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
This man. Okay.
See, that's what I was missing on the AI.
Yes.
I realized every time the synopsis starts, this movie, I was like, dang it, I missed.
You know how much you like Malignant?
Oh yeah.
This is my Malignant.
Okay.
Because like this is not a good movie, right? Like 1 and 2 are not good movies, but they are so
1 and
crazy.
2.
The Orphan 1 and Orphan 2?
So the 2 movies that exist
Correct.
that we're talking about right now.
Yes.
There's
Okay.
no other 1 and 2. It's just this is 2.
Well, what? No, there's a first one.
Well, you were saying it like there were 2 prequels or whatever. Like,
oh no,
you're
no,
saying
no.
1 and
I'm
2 are not
sorry.
You make
like,
it sound like
sorry.
it's this
Yeah.
long-established
No,
franchise.
no,
and there's
no,
one
no.
movie, and then 13 years
I
later.
did not mean that. I'm
Because-
sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, just to be clear, because I haven't seen the first one, so I was like, did
Well,
I
you-
miss 2 of them?
No. So are you ready to be spoiled with the first one?
Well,
if
I
he's
think
seen
I already
the second one,
Yeah,
But there is like the spoiler in the first one is crazy.
like,
yes,
I want
right?
to know, because the reason I'm curious, even though I know the spoiler, is I want to see what the point of the movie is, like how they present. Is it about like creepy things are going on? You don't know if it's the kid, or like what is the quick premise?
So the first one is Peter Sarsgaard.
one of them.
is it Vera Farmiga?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their husband and wife.
Okay.
And I think they've lost their daughter,
Yes.
right? And so they adopt
adopt an
they
orphan,
adopt this orphan.
which we-
Right. Well,
And-
it's if you adopt a child that's not an orphan, that's just abduction.
it's called kidnapping.
Oh, no, they adopt an orphan. It becomes a non-orphan.
But I'm just
That
saying,
is true.
if you're adopting someone, I guess they almost have to. Be
That is
more-
also
well, they have to
true.
have no parents or parents that don't want.
I
them.
see.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't just grab a child. and be like,
Right.
I'm adopting you now. You're
Hey,
mine.
That's
I-
called abduction.
I didn't title the movie. I'm just throwing it out there. That's why it's called Orphan.
So they adopt.
Why didn't they call it Adopted Girl, Tom?
Because it's too long.
yeah. Nobody likes that's too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adopted.
Oh, that's not
See?
bad. That's
Yeah.
good. So
Trademark real spoilers.
Yeah. So they adopt this child, and the entire time things are happening, but the way it's
And you
paced,
know it's the kid. It's not
So
like
the
it's a
audience
secret.
knows.
Yeah,
it's yeah.
you know that the orphan is
Not
crazy
normal.
and doing
Oh, I'm sorry. The what?
The adopted
The
child.
adopted.
the orphan.
Huh, I don't know what that in this context.
It's
I'm
like
not
it's,
sure what that means.
what's the it's you can't use that term anymore. It's adopted child.
Yes.
But they
Was orphan offensive now?
no, not at all.
No,
Both
she's
my
not an
parents
orphan
are dead.
anymore.
I'm an orphan.
Are you? Well, but you're an adult. That doesn't count. You weren't an orphan when you were a child.
Someone made that joke on a movie or TV show, I remember, where it's like they're a grown adult, but their parents eventually died. I'm an orphan.
Well, I know there's in Mr. Saturday Night. It's like my favorite line of the movie. It's not that great of a movie, but
No.
but they're
That's the Billy Crystal one, right?
yeah, and he plays like the old time comic. So he's playing a guy that's probably supposed to be in his 80s, and like and he's got a brother who's a few years younger, and like I think their mom's still alive, and she dies, and they're sitting around the table, and he's like, "Well, we're orphans."
That's a good joke. It is a good joke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know it's the kid.
Okay.
But they make Vera Farmiga look to be crazy.
Okay.
While
Right.
she's trying
I
to
see.
like, look, I'm telling you, like, it's this child. The kid ends up trying to like bang Peter Skarsgård,
Okay.
which
so
is also,
very
but
similar.
she's the it's the same actress. It's the
Yeah, I was wondering,
It's
man,
the
she's
same
like
actress.
20 something.
Yes.
Yeah, she was 14 when she made the movie, playing 10.
correct.
And so now she's 119.
But that's the thing is, yeah. So they do all that, and then I think Vera Farmiga.
So
wins.
but the original Orphan, before you know the spoiler, is very unsettling because there are some scenes where you're like, does this
that
kid
10-year-old is trying to bang
does this
that
kid
35-year-old?
want to bang the dad?
Yes.
And then like and then you feel icky for even thinking.
Oh, I see, because you don't know the spoiler
Right,
at that point.
and so like,
Okay.
and
Correct.
so like, it's only got like a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really unfair
I
because
agree.
Orphan is a great trashy movie.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean by it's my millennium.
Oh, and it was
Yeah.
13 years
Yeah.
ago. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was 2009.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
she really
yeah.
was a child actor.
Right, she
Yes.
was 14 at the time, playing
Legit
10.
child
And
actor.
they somehow made this one a prequel, and she still looks like a kid. Like, that's impressive.
She's
Well,
got very
they-
young features, but they use there's a lot of
There's a lot of
it's
tricks.
practical though. It's not
It
de-aging.
is.
They use body doubles and they shoot it
Okay.
from weird angles. and, yeah.
I think a lot of the cast wore like platforms
yeah.
in their shoes when they did when they would.
So
like,
she's not really short. The actor is
no,
not
no, she's
I don't know. She might be short, but she's not like
kid level short. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
She's not that
Because
short.
I think I read the actor is 5'3", which is not unusual height for average female.
yeah.
So, but so I was wondering, I that's really clever. I mean, because I will tell you, I again didn't see the first one, but watching this one and knowing that the actor was in her 20s,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, they did a great job.
See, I
pulling
was
that off.
distracted by the magic trick aspect of it for the
Agreed.
first 20 minutes
I can see that.
because I was just like
How
I
are we gonna
could
do this?
I could see how they did it very well,
Mm-hmm.
but I was also just I had trouble getting past the idea of like I
Them
just
not
want to
knowing.
watch how they're doing this
They were
and not
weird-
watch
they
the
were-
movie.
Oh, I
There
see.
were Some in that I think I agree with you. In the very beginning, probably the first half hour, there were some awkward cuts.
Yeah.
So where they could get the child actor into the frame.
Yeah.
That's
you know?
interesting because I don't know why. Maybe because I hadn't seen the first one and I was trying to wrap my head around what was going
Right.
on. But I watched this and I was not taken out of it at all. I just thought,
that's
Well, I think that's the advantage of not seeing the first one.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
for
I
sure.
don't know like how they did it the first time and how are they going to do
They
it
did
12
it the
years
first
later.
time because she was 14.
Yeah.
She was 10.
yeah.
Okay.
She still looked 10.
That makes a lot more sense. See, I'm thinking Orphan is some movie from like 4 years ago,
Yeah,
and she
no.
grew up a little bit.
Yeah,
but-
no, it's
okay.
been a long time.
Well, that is extremely impressive
Yeah.
with the same actor.
Yeah.
That is-
So I know the first one like doesn't have great reviews on, like I said, like at 58%. And I think my theory on that is because I remember watching Orphan and spending the bulk of the movie on, well, that doesn't make sense. like that kid wouldn't know how to do that.
Sure,
Like, that
sure.
kid, like you're making this kid have basically superpowers in order for this story to work. And like I really like that's.
But
meh.
you don't
And-
fall into like horror trope of like sometimes there's just kids that are creepy and do like
Well, it's not about being creepy. It's about her skill level,
Right.
right? So she's spoilers. She's like 35.
Right.
She's not 10. She's
Yeah.
got that disease that makes her not age.
apparently it's
so-
a glandular issue is what
Who
they
were
say.
the? Wasn't there? Who was the actor that had that?
Benjamin Button.
It's not. That's Brad Pitt.
Oh.
See, that's movie magic. That wasn't Brad Pitt. That was Benjamin
Right.
That was
Button.
Benjamin Button. No, Webster, right?
I don't know if it was a
Elliot-
non-aging thing, but
Was it just a height thing?
I think it might have just been a height thing.
Okay.
But-
who was the other one?
Gary Coleman?
No. Oh, yes.
Emmanuel Lewis was Webster.
That's the one I was thinking
Yeah.
of. Yeah, Emmanuel Lewis.
Michael Jackson carried him around like a toy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Connect those dots.
I
They're pretty close together for you.
They're not
Yeah.
tough.
But when you get to the reveal, like now you're like, oh, this movie isn't dumb at all.
Right.
Right? Like this movie's really smart.
Right.
And
she would have those skills.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not crazy that she, and now it's like also, oh, now I'm not a pervert for thinking she wanted to bone the new dad.
Right.
Like that's like she's 33.
Yes.
And she wants the date.
Right.
And like also, like how frustrating would it be if you had that condition, right? Because any guy that wants to bone you is immediately a pervert. Like it's like that Groucho Marx line. I wouldn't want to join any club that would have someone like me as a member.
Right.
Like any guy that wants to have sex with you, like is
You're a creep.
Is immediately ruled out
You're a
for
creep.
being disgusting.
There
It's
was here's your comic book reference to that reviewer guy. In the comic book Invincible, there's a character called Monster Girl, and she stopped aging at like 14.
Oh yeah, I mean I've watched the show.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Monster Girl it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Where she can't age, and she's like 37,
Right.
And she can't go to the bar. She can't
Yeah.
date a boy because she may look for it, so she can't date a 14-year-old, but she
Right.
also can't,
The
the
Eternals,
Yeah, she's not.
Oh, sure, yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's not a vampire in Twilight.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
That's weird. But yeah, so then that premise of that movie is like Vera Farmiga trying to prove
Yeah.
that Esther is not normal.
Yeah.
Got it.
And they kill her at the end of the movie.
I
Like,
thought they did.
Yeah,
okay.
because she's
Oh, they kill Esther?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
which
okay.
is why they had to do a
Had to do a
prequel, right?
prequel.
Like,
Right.
like because they I mean they
Yeah,
very
I mean, I've seen enough horror movies. Like,
but
she was
they
fine.
no, they very they like run out of the house into the woods and they have this lake.
That's right.
and or pond, and like the pond is frozen over.
She falls through the pond.
She falls through the pond, and then Vera Farmiga is like trying to get off the pond because it's cracking underneath her, and then Esther pops up and grabs her her leg, and then Vera Farmiga says, she's like, "Mommy, help me," and Vera Farmiga is like, "I'm not your mommy."
Such a great line.
And then kicks her in the head.
Yes.
And like you see her neck
Go down.
snap
Against
like
the ice.
other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
And
if
she's not supernatural.
No,
so
right, yeah,
it's
she has,
just
there's
person.
nothing. Yeah, there's nothing supernatural about this franchise, and so she like you see the neck
Yeah,
go
okay.
completely the wrong way, and then she sinks to the bottom of the lake. So
That's
like
it. Game over.
there's no.
The only thing I will say is, have you ever seen the Halloween movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
I mean,
What kind of dumbass question
Right.
is that? Yeah, I've seen them all a bunch.
well, no, I'm just to Tom's point. That dude gets just.
He's
okay,
not even
but-
as bad as Jason Voorhees. The Friday the
Okay.
13th are the ones.
but
where
at
just
that
like,
point, then you've completely changed what this
Yeah.
franchise
Yes.
is about,
Totally.
yeah,
right?
like they
yeah.
they slid Jason's face down a machete, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's back for part 5."
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool how there isn't a supernatural element. How this is a serial killer, or this is
Basically,
just a
yeah.
murderer. And
He's a crazy sociopath. Yeah.
the only thing I will say is that the title First Kill. I don't think this is her first kill.
Well, we know that it's not because they show you the first
Yeah.
ones when she's in the
She's
the
been
sanitarium.
killing. She's
Yeah.
been a killing.
Yeah. So yeah, this one we've got Julia Stiles, and who I was like, "Oh yeah, you were a thing for
Yeah.
a hot minute."
This is like her return.
Is it?
She hasn't. I don't think she's been doing maybe TV, but she hasn't
was
been in
those
film in a
Bourne movies,
while.
I know that.
Yeah, she hasn't
That's-
been in
yeah.
film. I mean, I'm not saying 20 years, but she maybe the Bourne movies. I haven't seen her in film in a long time.
Yeah. Save the Last Dance. That was the last time you saw her. I can't back that up. I don't think that's right. 10 Things I Hate About You. I don't know.
So she was in a TV miniseries called The Lake, or TV series called The
Was
Lake.
it for Netflix? I think.
I don't know.
All right.
And then she was
Prime.
in something called Dragon's 9 Realms.
Can't be.
She was
good.
a voice.
Oh, okay. That seems fair.
And then The God Committee.
Uh-oh.
Is that one of those like
Uh-oh.
mega church movies?
I don't know.
Like,
Red flag.
oh, it's got
Is it
her.
Kirk Cameron?
It's got her and Kelsey Grammer in it.
Okay.
And Kelsey Grammer has hair.
Oh,
An organ transplant committee has 1 hour to decide which of 3 patients deserves a life-saving heart. 7 years later, the committee members struggle with the consequence of that fateful decision.
It's
sounds
hard.
interesting.
It's hard to not like see anything that Kelsey Grammer is in because I love Kelsey Grammer. And anytime he's on, it's like, oh yeah, I'll watch that. I watched a movie called Money Plane. Ever watch that?
No.
It's terrible. It's like about a flying casino. And Kelsey Grammer is like the guy that runs the casino. It's got edge
Is
in
it so
it.
they're like in international waters?
Basically. It's got edge in it from the WWE.
Oh well.
Yeah, there we
Well,
go.
I mean, is it as good as those Triple H
It
movies?
couldn't be worse.
Oh, she's also in the Born Stunt-tacular.
Like, what is that?
Oh, like they record a little pre-show
Like,
footage
oh.
or whatever for the ride.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's like Universal Studios,
I was
Omaha.
hoping it was like an Indiana
No, that's what
Jones stunt
replaced
show.
T2. There's
Oh,
a
is
Bourne
it?
stunt show. now.
Oh, okay.
So that's cool. They got them to record
Oh,
the
I was
video
hoping it was like
segments.
an Indiana Jones stunt show.
Oh, she was
with-
in Hustlers.
Yeah, I don't remember her being in Hustlers, but
Oh,
maybe she
that's the
wasn't.
Jennifer Lopez one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is I thought it was just gonna
Yeah.
it felt like it was just a rehash, right? Well, we should say that we're first introduced to this is basically Halloween, like it's the opening of Halloween. I don't know how else to describe it. Is we've got a new psychiatrist coming into the hospital, and we're introduced to Esther, and Esther has already started to like play.
It was Isabelle Fuhrman is the actor who plays
Yes,
her,
thank you,
and
yeah.
apparently from the original.
It is, yes, it's the same person. She has already started to like work her magic basically inside this insane asylum. She's got the one gal who she like jingles a bell or something and she freaks out and attacks everybody, and she's like, here's a piece of candy, and then throws her, and then she'll
do anything to get a candy.
Right. So I do like the
it's like, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
I'm gonna go beat
what
up
would
that
you do for a Tootsie
I'm gonna
Roll?
go beat up that prison guard for a Tootsie Roll. So she being Esther manufactures an escape.
Who is, what's her, Lizzie? What's her real name?
Lizzie Borden.
No.
Yeah. I'm going to call her Esther because that's what she's called in the movie.
Yeah.
But they say it
They give her a
Lizzie
different name in
something.
the very beginning because
Her real name.
we find out that she has already murdered one family, and they're just like, they just put her back here. We just don't know what else to do with her, so we brought her back here. So she breaks out and she follows the psychiatrist home. She kills her, takes her gear, and we do find out that the scars on her neck and her wrists are because she pulled so hard against her restraints that's what caused these scars. And it's this level of like, oh, that's why he's called Han Solo?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. That's the origin story that I needed.
Yeah.
Is why she has scars on her neck and wrists.
Yeah, it's kind of a throwaway though. I don't think they spend a ton of time.
No, but I just thought it was a weird thing to...
There's a lot of fan service mixed in this.
Yes,
they explain
there are.
why she does the paintings the way she does.
Right.
And yeah.
So...
But I really like, this was kind of a psycho thing. You're introduced to the new psychiatrist and you think that's going to be the main character.
That's fair.
And they kill her off. So
no. Then we're not. She's not
Yeah.
gonna be the
So
main-
I kind of like that misdirect that they did in the beginning because she is introduced in a way they usually would film the main character.
Right.
You know, it's following her. And
Or
she's
you think that she's going to... Yeah, right. She's going to be the one that's going to be like, oh, no, this gal's crazy. And then, has to like track her down or whatever.
This movie had a bigger budget. That would have been a total stunt cast.
Absolutely.
Right? It would have been
Right.
like Drew Barrymore and
Yes.
Scream. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or what's her name in Psycho?
Yeah.
Janet Leigh. So
Lena.
Lena, is that what she's called here? All
It's
right.
her real name.
For about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then she writes Esther in a book.
Well, it is an origin story,
That's true.
so we should mention at least.
So Esther I feel like she goes to Boogle because they can't call it Google.
Right.
And she looks up like missing children? Is that what she does?
Yeah, she goes to a missing children's website.
Okay.
And is like, oh,
This one looks like
Here's
me.
one that's
this
identical.
one looks like me. I can
Here's
pull that
one
off.
from a photo when I was a child. She looks just like that little girl. I wonder if they did use her.
Here's the thing about this plot. I don't know how they don't get sued. I think there's a certain family in Boulder, Colorado that may have a bone to pick with the creators of this movie.
Did something like this happen?
I mean, this is kind of the Jean-Benet Ramsey case. This is all right.
Oh, but not the adopting an orphan part.
No.
but
Yeah.
I mean the twist.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
I
It's
see what
some
you're
people's
saying.
theory on what
It's kind
happened.
of the
Okay.
major theory as to what
Yeah.
actually happened to her.
Well, maybe that's an influence, but I mean,
Well, the only way they could sue if they said
I
yes,
admitted. That's what I'm saying.
yes, it is what we did.
That's
Well,
what
they're all
I'm.
dead, right? Except for the brother.
The mom
Well, I know
isn't dead,
Jean-Benet
right?
is, but I don't know about the rest of them.
The mom isn't.
My God!
I mean, everyone.
Sorry, I thought you knew.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Everyone thinks the mom did it, right?
No,
That's-
No, they
It's
thought
the brother.
They thought the brother did it.
the brother did
They
it.
thought the
Oh, I
brother.
thought
And the
at the
parents,
time that-
parents covered it up.
Oh, okay. I thought at the time everyone was like the mom.
I mean, that's
Okay.
probably what it
I didn't.
was.
I didn't hear
but
the theory about
it's
the.
I think
It
at
was the-
first people thought
everyone
it
was
the mom,
like,
and then
oh,
they
it was-
pivoted to the. But I
okay.
thought there was something that exonerated the brother that like.
Oh,
I don't know. I have never followed it that closely.
But yeah, you would have to. I mean, what are
That's
they going
true.
to do?
Yeah,
hey,
the
this
brother'd be
is-
like, "Hey, I need to get royalties for that story. Why?
Plus, if that's all it took to get sued, like
That's true.
Law and Order wouldn't exist.
Well, I guess they put in the front of theirs are like loosely based on true stories,
Well,
right?
but that doesn't absolve
I
you.
guess
of-
that's true.
But I think if it's like
There's
unless
something about public. If it happened,
yeah, like
in
if it's
public,
news.
you know, you can make movies without the family's consent. When you make a so and so movie, whatever.
Can you?
Yeah, like you can make when you're a public figure, you're in the public. What I don't know what the legal term for it is, but people make true story type movies about things. You know how you get competing movies of like,
Yeah,
this happens,
like
then all
when
of
Amy Fisher killed or didn't kill but shot
Beat the-
Joey Buttafuoco's wife
in the face.
in the face.
and you get
face.
Lifetime and
there
everyone
were
rushing to make the
three
movie.
Joey Buttafuoco Amy Fisher movies.
You said Amy Fisher, and I went with the gal
Amy-
that cut her husband's Off.
No,
What the
that's
hell is that?
Lorena Bobbitt.
Yeah,
And
that's
John Wayne Bobbitt.
Yeah, and the guy did
It's a
porn
short
after that.
movie.
Hey,
But-
Kevin coming through. That was pretty good.
But yeah, so like there were like 3 of those simultaneously. Like
That's true.
And the family isn't like approve.
because it was like Drew Barrymore played her, Alyssa Milano
really?
played her, and somebody else. But
the
like they,
Joe
they were,
Exotic stuff. There's 2 of those. They don't approve. None of them like the way they're portrayed in that stuff.
So okay, well but you can't make a Steve Jobs biopic.
they made 2 of them simultaneously.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and one is based on a book, and one is just a screenplay or something, right?
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, you can. It's just you can't use if you wanted to make a Michael Jackson movie, like they never have made a big Michael Jackson movie.
Right.
You can't use the music,
Right.
which is what makes the movie without their rights.
which is like there was
So
like
what's the point?
a
If
Jimi
you-
Hendrix was it the Jimi Hendrix movie that came out a few years back, but they didn't have the rights to any of the
Oh,
songs.
that
Yeah.
sucks.
I think they probably danced around some because some of his biggest hits he didn't write, so they could license them and
Interesting.
that way.
Wasn't
but,
that?
but that was the running gag on 30 Rock, where the Gene Krakowski character was in a Janis Joplin biopic, but they didn't have the rights to any of the Janis Joplin songs. Yeah.
Well, that was the thing about the Sacha Baron Cohen Queen one, right? Where they're like, yeah, you can make a story about his life, but you're not getting any songs.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, well, I guess we can have Rami Malek lip sync
Yeah.
and win an Oscar.
Ugh.
So she gets away. She finds this picture of this girl. She sets herself up to be found by the police, and they're like, she's like, my family's in America, and they ship her back to America.
I love the twist. I don't know if we should just spoil it now, but
I think the twist is great.
I
The twist
absolutely
is great.
Yeah.
love the twist. I
So
cannot believe they came up with
I
this.
thought this movie was like a fairly mediocre retread.
Yeah.
Until about 45 minutes in, when they flipped the script.
like the first one.
Yeah. Although the twist in the first one comes much later.
That's true.
Like, I mean, it comes like in the last like 15 minutes, maybe
Yeah.
20. But this one comes about halfway through.
Just crazy.
Because I'm
And-
asking the questions the whole time, like, wouldn't they know? And then I'm like, well, she's older. Like, I keep trying to ask myself,
Yeah.
like, but
Because they're
would you
saying
really
that she's
fly
been-
there first before you get some kind of a video evidence or something?
Because
But-
they're saying that she's been gone for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay.
But I'm just saying, it seems very much like I'm just going to fly to this other country without any kind of other confirmation, whatever. But when you know the twist, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And the fact that they've been playing along the whole time, you should probably watch this movie
I think
because
you
the
should.
twist makes it.
You should watch both of them. I do. I think you should watch both of them in order.
And they're worth watching.
Absolutely.
They-
They're
But
both on
I will
Peacock,
say,
I think.
as someone
or
who
Paramount. Paramount. Yeah, sorry.
someone who hasn't watched the first one, I don't think you need to. I'm not saying you shouldn't, and I want to watch it eventually. But
I think you will enjoy the process if you somehow already don't know the twist of Orphan. You would
if you don't
definitely
know the
enjoy it.
twist,
Yeah.
maybe hold out then on these. But I think as someone who knew the twist, I enjoyed this movie and didn't find myself going, well, I don't know what that's a reference to. You know, this
Yeah.
movie played pretty
Oh,
well
for sure.
without knowing.
Sure.
Which is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, maybe we'll just say we recommend watching this. It's a good movie, and
Yeah.
you'll
This
enjoy
is
it
one
more.
of those ones where don't listen to this yet.
Yeah.
Like, let's watch both of them, or at least the new one before you listen to
Yeah.
this.
So spoilers.
We know that the real daughter of this family was murdered by her brother, her real life brother, and then the mom and the brother covered it up,
And
the
the
dad
dad
and
doesn't
the
does
know.
not
dad
know.
is clueless.
The dad thinks the daughter has just gone missing.
gone missing. So
Yeah.
he
So-
has there's this cop that keeps popping in every once in a while who's like,
So the
you know.
cop, which this didn't make sense to me either. I'm like, why is that cop so
Why does this
suspicious?
cop care?
Well,
Yeah.
clearly the cop 4 years ago something didn't sit right, and he's
Right.
been suspecting
like
foul play.
Yeah, like he basically knows that
This is
the
this is
brother did
bad.
it, but he can't. He doesn't have evidence.
Right.
So he comes around, and you see later on in the film that there's a little bit of a conflict between him and the brother, and
Yep.
and it's like he's been investigating this.
So this Russian cop is like, "Where is your family?" They're like, "In America." And then they ship her. They show up at their son's fence. This cop shows up at a fencing tournament, and Julia Childs is like, "Man, what's this jerk off?"
So
doing
here's the fencing tournament.
here?"
Hats off to the fencing tournament
Why?
scene, because normally in a movie like this, when they show a kid playing some hyper niche sport,
yeah.
they still are in an auditorium with like hundreds of people watching.
Sure.
And in this one, there were like 20 people in there watching.
That's all they could afford.
Watching fencing,
Yeah,
and I
right.
was like, that makes sense. No,
I do also
no one's
appreciate-
watching. You're not going to have like 800 people going to a fencing
Right.
tournament.
Not even at the Olympics,
Right.
do they get 800 people for a
Yeah.
fencing tournament? But I do. It's fun because
I was like, why are they on little tethers? I don't understand fencing, so why are
like,
they on?
Because their suits have electrodes in it.
Okay.
So when you hit them, it sends a signal.
Oh, so you know you've been hit.
So you know you've been hit.
Okay,
So
that's
it sends a signal to a
electric
box and it
cable.
says, "Hey, you got
Oh,
binged."
okay, got it.
Yes.
So that's what they're for. Because I'm like, do they pull them back if they're stabbing too hard? What is that?
Rock'em sock'em robots. We're like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. So, but I also, sometimes in these movies where you get people playing like you said, rich kid sports, and I was like, oh, fencing would be a rich kid sport.
Yes.
Which is one
Yeah.
you don't see very often. I was like, well done. Well done.
Lacrosse.
That's the other one.
fencing.
I was thinking rugby. Maybe.
I don't know about rich
I don't
kid
know.
sport.
Lacrosse was the other
Lacrosse is one of them more.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Insider trading.
yeah, right. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And their house is massive.
this
Oh,
house.
I'm
is
sorry. That's a
crazy.
castle?
That's an estate.
Yeah.
I mean,
In America, I was like, where is this? Where are you?
They're
Like,
Connecticut, aren't they?
Well, I guess that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense then. All right, never mind.
but like that house was
yeah, it's.
when he
I call
opens
that a
the-
castle when I
especially
see a
for
house like that.
for now 3 people,
sure.
right? Like
There's no way this was filmed in the United States.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean,
Well,
just
there's
looking
big
at
houses like that.
Not
They-
like
there's big
that.
houses by
Oh,
us like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're out
those-
there.
the stone and all
if you
that.
go drive down Clayton Road going
I
east
guess that's fair.
and see what kind of houses you run
This is
into.
filmed in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
See, told you.
Okay,
Okay,
but
but
there are castle houses
Yeah.
down the street from us. There's- yeah.
So the cop says we found her, and they walk her back through. And Julia Stiles. It's interesting the way that Julia Stiles plays it because you can play it 2 ways. You can play it. You can read it as like she's like, oh my god, they found my daughter, or oh my god, what am I gonna do?
But you don't the first time. This is like
Right.
a Sixth Sense
It's
situation.
it's like Get Out.
Yeah, go watch
Yeah.
this again. And
Yeah.
now, because I'm thinking back to the way that Julia Stiles portrayed that, like you were saying, and it's like, oh, wow, she's not worried about like, oh, my God, my daughter.
Right,
She's
right.
thinking, how? Or
Right.
what
is
is going on
happening?
here? And the fact that she plays along, again, I think it's so brilliant. And the way they flip the script where I'm thinking, okay, this movie's about this crazy serial killer posing as a little girl. And I'm like, wow, the killer's being blackmailed.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
such a unique premise for this type of movie.
And they find a way to get you to kind of root for her.
Well, they're
yeah.
worse than her, so you're
Right.
like, it's so
they
weird.
don't
It's-
breathe toot it. You know, where
Yeah.
you're just like,
No.
wait, I've got to root for the guy that had
I was
a
like,
girl
excuse me.
the girl
Yeah.
chained up in his basement with a turkey baster.
Yeah.
That's the good guy now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think it's really smart, and it's like when we talk about mob movies or whatever, just like
Yeah.
two bad guys, and you want the better bad guy to
Right.
win. So now you're talking about several murderers, and you're like, yeah, she's bad. We know that the orphan is bad, and
Right.
but it's like, wow, these parents are horrible, and especially
Well, the parents aren't horrible.
Well, no, the mom is.
Right,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
the mom
yeah.
and the
Horrible.
brother are terrible.
Yeah. But yes, that's exactly right. Is you're just like once the plot is revealed. So the cop starts putting it together. First, there's this weird interaction at the therapist's office where Esther gets the bird wrong, and even now Julia Stiles is like, and starts like,
Yeah, not all parrots are macaws, but all macaws are parrots. Yeah, like
that's exactly it.
yeah.
So
But that's after she knows.
no,
Yeah.
no.
No, 'cause she talks to her like
the therapist says, she mentioned the bird, but this wasn't the bird.
Right, but she doesn't. But she doesn't say that to her until she knows. 'cause
Right,
she
she says
to
it
her
to her.
rude. She says
Because
like you're an
so-
idiot.
So Esther like picks up on a snippet of conversation about
That's right.
about the bird at this office, and so she acts like she knows the bird, but the bird is a different bird
Right.
now. And then later the mom calls
Calls
her
her an
out on
idiot.
like I know what you were trying to do, and you failed because you saw a bird and you assumed it was the same bird, but it wasn't the same bird
You
because
dumbass.
I called it a parrot, but it's a macaw, and like, all macaws are parrots, not all. But yeah,
The
it's-
mom is such a jerk.
Yeah.
and
It's-
once
but
it's revealed,
That's exactly it. There's a great character flip
Yeah.
for Julia Stiles where she is you think she's this loving mother and she's being
yeah, hats off to her
and then
because
she flips it.
her
and I was like,
performance is
"Ugh."
very believable
Yeah.
as the mother who just got her daughter back after 4 years, and then when it flips and you're like, oh, she needs to go.
Right.
Like
and
really
she
good.
does
Yeah.
in pretty impressive fashion.
Spoilers.
That's what I'm doing. So
No, that's why I meant spoilers.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Get to it.
So this cop starts putting it together and is like, this doesn't make any sense. Esther goes.
He's taking photos like he's a PI, and you're just like, what? Why? What is he investigating?
Well, because none of this makes sense to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he
Right.
worked the daughter's case before.
No, I know. I mean, before we know the reveal in your head, I'm thinking, like, what is? And which is great because now you're like, well, he's on to Esther. But no, that's the twist, is he's on to the mom and brother. So it's that second watch.
See, I was thinking he's on to Esther, which was going to
No,
lead him to the
no.
mom.
He's on to.
Well, he's on to Esther only
Well,
because he knows
Right.
that kid doesn't exist.
But he wouldn't be there in the first place because as the audience, the first time you watch this, you're thinking, what clues does he have that might not be really Esther?
Right.
But it's because he's already been on the case for 4
Yes,
years.
I got
Now he's
you.
like, well, I think she's dead. There's been evidence. I can't prove it, but I think she's dead. And now she shows up. There's no way.
Right. That's a good point. I read it as he was like, this doesn't make sense. And that was like that was the final piece to get to the mom and brother, but he's already on to the mom and brother.
It's a smart screenplay, and I also liked how, I mean, it was a little cutesy, but I did like it. The way this movie's written, there are so many lines like the dad says, I can't believe it's really you. Like, they're winking. The audience knows it's not.
Right.
And they keep making the mom, the brother, the dad, they keep saying things that are like a little nod, like,
oh, sure.
that are contrary to the truth.
They kind of do that in the first one. I think in the first one that Vera Farmiga has like a drinking problem, or like
she drinks and yes, she does have a drinking problem because she keeps buying liquor or wine but not drinking it, and
right.
like she's clean but she hasn't gone through any sort of program.
Yes,
so she's
right.
white knuckling her way through an alcohol addiction.
Esther starts to like throw little like, Emma, she had this drink over here, and like, so anything that Vera Farmiga would say would come off as like crazy drunk speak,
Yeah.
Right?
So that Esther
gaslighting.
It's exactly what it is.
So I like in this one of the lines that I remember is, I think the mom says like you look like a different person, or you're all grown up. You're a grown lady.
Yes.
Like they keep in the script saying things that are these.
Can
fun.
I tell you that was one of my favorite parts of She-Hulk, is when Jen is interviewing the Abomination.
Yeah.
And she says that he's made amends or whatever to Bruce.
Oh,
and
the
Bruce
nod.
is like, "Yeah, I was
different-
I was a totally different person back then." And I was like,
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's the movie is written in a way where keep saying
meta.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like it. It was clever the way they kept doing it because it didn't sound wink and nod, but
it
if you
works.
listen,
Yeah.
pick it up. It's like
So
It never veers into camp.
exactly.
Yeah.
see, I think it does veer into camp.
Not
like
that
Malignant.
aspect of it.
Oh,
I don't
sure.
I don't think, but yeah, this movie is a little campy.
This is like an 80s straight to VHS movie all day. Like if this had come out in the 80s, this would have been like a horror movie boom in the 80s, like VHS era.
Right.
This is a horror. This is one
maybe being the equivalent of
yeah.
that. To
And
me,
I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. Like,
yeah,
I think
it just didn't seem like I was impressed with how good the movie was. I thought I really expected this to kind of be. I don't want to say there's a lot of good streaming movies out there, but you know how we used to call things straight to video?
Right.
I was thinking maybe this was a kind of a cash grab. We have this IP from 12 years ago now, I realize, and let's cash in on it and make a streaming movie. And I'm thinking like, is this going to be any good?
Was this in theaters or was it straight to Paramount?
I think they released them simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was really impressed from the production, the acting. They did a good job with this film.
Yeah. No, and also, I mean, we kind of touched around it. Is just the practical effects that they used to give you the depth perception that Esther is 3'2".
And which is why it doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. That's the thing, is if they just CG'd it all,
It'd been real bad.
It can be rough.
But I think so. What they did with this is they did the forced perspective, where they filmed it in a way that Esther looks significantly shorter. They put all of the main actors, anytime they had a scene with the actual actress, they were wearing like lifts, like 2 to 3 inch lifts in their shoes.
I think I saw something on social media now, and I didn't really pay attention because I didn't know the movie and the actors. But now I've seen people on Twitter around the time, like last month when this movie got released, where they're up on a platform or had the big shoes or whatever. Now it makes sense. Yeah.
And then the other thing they did is they would do, again, they got better at the cuts as the movie went on, but they would do these weird cuts.
I don't know if they got better or the movie got better.
Maybe.
And so
maybe that's what it is.
You stopped you started focusing on the story instead of
what they were going to do,
instead of the other aspect.
What was the weird cuts? I can't think of it. I mean,
so
I know there were times
like
where
you
she was like
see her
full
from
body.
You would see her from the front, and then she would have to like walk away from something or run away,
or like
and
they
then
go
would
hug the mom and you see a full body, so it's
Right.
clearly a different person.
Yeah, but then they would like flip it real, like, you know, it's just an awkward cut
Right,
where
okay.
she would run at the camera and then the camera would
I
flip,
didn't
and then it's
notice it.
and then it's like a child running
Okay.
away. So Esther's going to kill the cop, and I think this is like one of the best twists I've ever seen, is where the cop thinks the mom has figured it out, right? So the cop has been stabbed, he's laying on the ground, and he was like, haha, like, I'm not the only one who figured it out. And the camera pans back to Julia Stiles, and you're like, oh no. Like, and then you look at the time, and you're like, we have a lot of movie
Yeah.
left.
Right.
Like, what?
This is a great twist reveal. I did not see this coming.
And then Julia Stiles shoots the cop.
And I'm like,
And you're
why
like,
would you do that?
What is
How-
happening? And then, of course, the reveal that the brother, Chance or Chad or whatever the
Gunner?
is that really his name?
Gunner, yes.
I rest my case.
Yeah, it was like these people are so rich conservative. They named their child after a gun.
Right. This is my son, AR-15.
I think
Right.
it's Gunnar. Like, it's not like you're a
That's
gunner.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
So we get the reveal that Gunnar accidentally pushed accidentally, yeah, in a fit of rage,
Yeah.
which we do get a recreation of what I assume is what happened.
I didn't pick up on that when he did it, he was doing what he did to
It's
the
exactly
real one.
the same
Okay.
thing. Pushed his sister down the steps, killed her, and then the mom, knowing that it would break everything, covered it up, protecting her son.
See,
in
crime
the
doesn't
process.
pay.
What?
If they didn't cover this up, they wouldn't have a crazy killer come into their house
Oh.
impersonating. See?
That's fair.
This
I
is a great.
see where you're going with
Yeah,
that.
it's a great PSA. Do not cover up a crime. You will have a crazy
With a
woman
genetic
posing as
disease.
a child.
Who
or
Julia
you'll,
Stiles?
or you'll become president of the United States of America.
Ta-da!
Oh.
Who Julia Stiles does often refer to as like a genetic freak. Randomly in this movie, I was like, dang, that is a.
But she's a bad guy.
It's cut and
But
paste.
she's a villain.
That's
so-
true. That's
Villains-
true.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was like, that's
It's different
From
when
cold
a
blood.
filmmaking standpoint, it's okay to let the slave master use the N-word.
Right.
They're bad.
talk to Quentin Tarantino. He'll
yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they kill the cop. They go home, and this is where it's just like, well, this is a completely different movie now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
which
we
is great.
have to like blackmail the your monster. We have
Yeah.
to blackmail the monster
This is
into
crazy.
playing.
Just crazy that the killer, like the Jason, the Michael Myers, is now the one getting blackmailed.
And I also like the fact that it doesn't feel like a reach, right? Like she sought out a family on a
Yeah.
missing children's website. So like it doesn't feel crazy that she landed in this situation, right?
Right.
It doesn't feel like a plot device. I mean, I know it's a plot device, but it doesn't
Right.
feel like one because she kicked it off. I'm going to go to a missing children's website and find a missing child who looks like me.
Right.
And she just happened to find one where they weren't really missing. It was a murder, which
Whoops.
seems plausible.
Yeah,
Right.
right,
So yeah.
There's another scene where I think that Esther is painting with her not dad,
Yeah.
and is like doing the same thing he did to Skarsgård, where she's like making moves on him, and he's like, and he doesn't. Does he? I'm trying to think if he says he's like, what the fuck?
no, he doesn't pick up on it. He just
Right?
thinks
Like,
she's
he just-
being
he
sweet,
seems
like
blissfully unaware
Because his daughter's back.
he just interprets it as my daughter,
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and so interprets it as familial
And
affection.
I love when Julia Stiles is just like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you think
Yeah.
you're gonna sleep with him? Like, you're out of your mind.
And she's so evil in the way she's like, I'm going to go upstairs and sleep with my husband, which is great. I mean, her performance is fantastic. You hate her, and so much so you're like, can Esther, the
Can we get
psycho
on with it?
murderer, can you please kill these people?
Yeah.
So there's the dad. I guess he's a painter, and he's going to.
And he stopped painting because his child's disappearance. So
Right.
he hasn't been himself. And the reason why Julia Stiles wants to go along with all this, instead of just calling this murderer out and whatever, taking care of her right away or whatever, she's like, no, I need him back.
Well, he's back, right? Like they get him back when Esther shows up, right? So the dad's going on this trip, and it looks like Esther's about to push both Julia Stiles and the brother off the
is.
platform, and then gets stopped.
By a rando passerby.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. He
Okay.
just runs into him, yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a canister with the dad's artwork.
That's
he's
what it
bringing on the
was.
trip.
Yeah.
He's going to get coffees, and you see her walk around the platform from behind them. And she's about to just use it to push the two of them as the train's coming. And this guy's like, "Oh, watch where you're going, little girl." And she's like, "Ah." She's like Sideshow Bob.
She does.
She
Yeah,
just stepped on a rake.
stepping on rakes as it constantly. So
that would have been a pretty funny, like if they went in totally a different direction.
Yeah.
The whole movie's about Esther trying to kill these two awful,
like
like worse murderers.
and is thwarted.
Yeah.
Like a Pink Panther movie.
Exactly.
She's got an Acme like bomb kit that just won't work.
Yeah.
So this is another where Esther runs away and I guess they're walking away and she goes, what were you gonna you were gonna kill us?
You think you can kill me?
And she goes, and I do like that Julia Stiles like, that's it, we're done. Like we're ending this now. And so Esther grabs like bear spray from her purse and sprays Gunnar in the face and steals the car keys and takes off. And just in another weird scene where she being Esther is driving down the road and she starts putting on lipstick and then smoking a cigarette. And she's got her little hat on and the cop pulls her over. I wouldn't even know what to do. In a situation, right?
You saw a supposed 14-year-old driving around.
I
with
think
a
she's supposed to be even younger than that.
Yeah, because she's supposed to be. I think she was supposed to be 9 in the first movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
So she's like 10.
Oh wait, no. But the character she's playing here, because she's playing a character.
Yes.
Her character is playing a character. So
Right.
Yeah, she's supposed to be 14.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
So they send Esther back home to Julia Stiles.
Which is only a couple years before driving. So like, I mean, it's not implausible she would know how to drive.
It's the way she's sitting in that chair where she's like, so.
Like an adult. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But she's trying to play it like she's 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she looks like she's Jacqueline Onassis.
Yeah.
You know.
And she's like, what? Why did you pull me over?
Yeah.
So they go. This is where she's like, that's it. We're done. Julia Stiles. They're gonna kill her. And
she stomps upstairs, and then the mom to the brother is like, "We're doing this now.
We're doing this now." So they push her down the steps, or she falls down this in the recreation of what we assume happened to Esther in the beginning.
They're having a kerfluffle. They're fighting and whatever, and then the brother gets her at the stairs and just throws her
down the steps. And at this point, the dad calls. So Julia Stiles is like, nope, everything's fine. Love you, bye. He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to come home. She's like, no. Just, okay, fine. Can you take a cab?
Yeah, I'm a little busy.
Yeah, I'm not coming to pick you up. And of course, the brother's looking where the body was, and Esther's gone. In
Michael
very,
Myers
very typical, exactly, slasher fashion. They end up, I think the brother and Esther end up in like the dad's art studio, and Esther murders the brother. Does she stab him?
She shoots him with a crossbow.
That's what it is.
And then furiously stabs him.
Yes, that's right. Very much.
He's like, I'm going to fence you to death. And she's like,
okay.
It was like we get Chekhov's fencing, and then it's like, I totally forgot about Chekhov's crossbow.
They do another one in this movie too. What's the other Chekhov's? Oh, with the cop that he puts the knife in the cutting board, and they focus on the knife, and then they come back later and you see it's missing.
It's missing. It's the Indiana Jones, going back to that, and the gun with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. It's like, we're done.
It's a great improv.
It is a great improv.
Yeah. I mean, it does mean that the hero of our film shot an unarmed man, but go on.
He was armed. He had a sword.
He was 60 feet away.
You're not wrong.
But he was going to come kill him if he didn't shoot him.
Well, eventually.
Yeah. Well, when he walked towards him, we could have just not pushed him into the propeller like that other guy. So I'm trying to. Oh, they get up. The house at this point is catching on fire. I don't remember how.
That's the other Chekhov's fire. I thought earlier in the movie when Gunnar was having his little party and the mom and dad are coming back from the gala, he says, this kid's pretty good. At my age, I would have set the house on fire. I was waiting for, and then it didn't happen immediately, so I forgot about it. I thought
that is kind of a wink, because you know from the first movie that this house is going to burn down.
They tell you.
They tell you what happened.
They tell you that the family she was with prior, like the family all died in a house fire.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. So you.
I forgot about that part.
You know that I mean, if you're familiar with the first movie, if you remember it,
right?
Joe,
like 6 concussions.
Then you know that like this house has to burn down.
Right.
Which is a little bit of a stretch because the family died in a house fire. Well, the son was crossbowed and he was in the house.
Right.
The parents fell and hit their head on the curb outside the house.
The dad. Well, that's true.
Those two were not in the house fire.
But you could also read that is they jumped out of the window.
Yeah,
they went to the roof,
true.
tried to get away from the fire, and they fell off the roof. Like there are ways.
And I was only teasing, honestly.
Yeah.
Can't explain the brother.
Well, but you don't know how much of his remains
I
were
guess
left.
that's true.
I mean,
Totally.
There's probably
this
just
was a pretty
bones and-
bad fire. And,
That's
I mean,
true.
also from an effects standpoint, this is the worst effect in
It's
the whole movie.
real bad.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It
this
is real bad.
This is almost as bad as the flaming fire tracks from Back to the Future. Like, those are bad. Like, that movie's great. Nobody ever talks about how bad those effects are.
Pretty bad.
They're
They
literally
bother me,
standing
though.
on the flame.
No, of
Yeah.
course you don't. It doesn't bother you. Like nobody cares because
Yeah.
that movie's
because
so
everything
great.
else about the movie is
Yeah.
amazing. So you just
But
kind of
those-
like, well, they screwed up.
I've
now.
just never really thought about it.
like
it's
they when they superimpose the flaming fire tracks, like
it's touching.
It's
their
Michael
touching-
J. Fox is literally standing in the middle of
Yeah,
fire.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
always wondering how they did that. Honestly, like it never bothered me, and I was like, I guess they have fire retardant pants on or something. I just never thought about it.
I just assumed it's superimposed.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and I
superimposed.
just that's funny because I never thought. So yeah, I was only teasing about the other thing, like the retcon. But it's a shame. I was gonna bring up the fire thing. It's a shame this is at the end of the movie because I think this movie is so good.
Yeah.
And then you get to the finale and the fire's so bad.
It's pretty bad.
That you're like, see, that's what I thought the whole movie was going to be, that quality of filmmaking.
Oh, I see.
Like if in the beginning of the movie they had a fire and it was fake like that, the whole movie you'd be like, well, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
would take you out of it.
Where now you're just like, these effects are awful,
Yeah.
but
We've gotten
I gave
so
it a pass.
far.
'cause
I've
it
got
was-
4 minutes left, and it's been
right.
great up till now.
And I
Yeah.
enjoyed the whole movie, so it worked at least to not ruin the movie. But it's a shame because now
It's probably like if your wife cheats on you when you're like 80.
Yeah, I mean, like,
You
go
know?
for it. I don't care.
You're like, like we had a good run.
We had a good run.
Like you were good the first 60 years. What am I going to do about it now?
well, 60. That means there's still 20 more out there.
Mine probably doesn't work anymore.
Hey man, go get yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Julia Stiles and Esther get to the roof, and they're fighting on the roof, and of course now they're both hanging off of the roof, and here comes the dad, and Julia Stiles is like, she's not Esther, she's bubble, she's crazy, she's this, she's that.
people are always so strong in these movies.
Yeah.
In real life, I mean,
There's
unless you're a
no-
tonal guy, you're just
You need
hang.
a lot of upper body strength.
To hold on to one
Just to
person
hang.
with one. Oh,
No, just to hang.
yeah.
there. The long. I mean, you can do it for several seconds, right?
Yeah.
But like when you're there for 2 minutes and there's a person next to you and you're scuffling, and it's just most people do not have the upper body strength
to
do
hang
that.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a movie trope.
It is.
though.
It is very much.
And also when like give me your hand, like you know how hard
that
it is
whole
to
thing.
pull the person up.
by
not gonna
one
happen.
hand.
Yeah.
And it's always like an older person or something. Yeah.
But I love the way they construct the scene where basically not only does he have to decide who he has to decide which one he's going to save.
Correct.
Like that's
There's
great.
you've got only one choice,
Yeah.
and he doesn't choose Julia Stiles.
But
Yes.
this movie is brutal and not.
But that's the choice, right? Like if you're forced in a situation
Sure.
between saving your spouse or your child,
I love you, but
you pick the kid.
Yeah.
And so like he makes the quote unquote right choice.
and he's still the good guy,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Because
for sure.
That's-
Well, yeah, it's an impossible situation. You're not a bad guy no matter what choice you
well,
make.
I mean, you could be if he knew going in, right? If he knows,
Well,
if he knows, and he saves Esther instead,
Well, no,
then you're
that-
the bad guy. But
Clearly, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're not a bad guy for making that choice. He doesn't
Sure.
know. It's just you're not a bad guy if you don't
You're-
know.
you're a
just,
bad guy.
Yeah, you're a bad guy.
Yeah, and just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a
But
bad guy.
but the kills are brutal in this movie. From the beginning, when she slams the security guard's head into the wall. Of the
also,
cell.
I call kind of bull on that. I don't think she's strong enough to smash that guy's head in. Right? When Michael Myers does it from Rob Zombie's Halloween, that makes sense.
That's the part where I didn't know if there was a supernatural, like watching this for the first time and not knowing
Yeah,
the
I
other one.
don't-
I was kind of
No,
curious.
Are you telling me that a 14-year-old could swing my head into a wall?
she's
But she's not a 14-year-old.
But she's got the body of a 14-year-old.
But she could maybe have the
Muscle tone.
there's some people that are
maybe.
really skinny that have incredible strength.
That's fair. That's
so
fair.
since she's an adult, maybe she has the dense muscle fibers. So even
I
though
don't know. I feel like she'd still have the, like, if we're saying that she still has the
look.
body of a 14-year-old.
well, they basically say the glandular disorder stops her from growing, like aging, but they don't ever say that like her
she's like
muscles
baby,
atrophy
she's
or
like
anything.
baby Hercules.
Yeah. So, but either way.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah, no,
saying.
no, yes,
she
yes, yes.
smashes the head against the wall.
Blood
the
sprays
candy
everywhere.
lady is
Mhm.
stabbing a security guard like crazy, and blood's going on the wall. And they're
And she's beating him with a nightstick.
yeah.
Yeah.
The nightstick is
Yeah.
splattering the blood.
Right.
And then when she kills the brother, and
Even when she kills the therapist, right? Like that therapist is at the bottom, and when she goes and finds Esther's like bio, and at
She
the
kills a
therapist's house.
therapist?
Yeah, remember she kills that therapist
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, she knocks her down the steps.
She
Remember?
kills the cop. She not kills the cop, but she stabs the cop in the back a lot.
Yeah, when she kills that therapist in the very beginning of the movie, and she was like, the therapist falls down the
Oh, I'm
steps.
sorry. I'm think there's another therapist with
no,
a bird.
No,
okay,
not the one in America, the one in Russia.
I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's brutal because she's like usually it only takes one.
That's one of my favorite lines of this movie is where she's like, oh, that usually it only takes one.
You
And then
bludgeon
she-
and you think she already killed the beginning movie therapist,
Right.
not Janet Leigh
Yeah.
style kill. And then she comes back to finish her, and so that's brutal. So you see blood splatter on her face. So the kills are very brutal. The brothers especially,
Yep.
she's killing him. But so Julia Stiles falls, and it's not just like, oh, the impact of hitting the ground killed me. No, her head hits a curb, and blood splatters
blood
on the
and
street.
brains like splatters
Yeah.
into the street. Yeah. So the dad's like, what's going on? I don't understand. And Esther goes, we did it. Like, we can be together. We can do this. And he's got his hands like on the side of her face. And I don't remember this if they did this in the first one or not.
Her teeth fall out. Her false teeth.
But
fall
that's
out.
They don't fall out accidentally, but when they're doing the reveal, they show her
is that what it was?
taking off the things, and so she has like fake teeth to hide how bad her
Gnarly
teeth are.
teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dad's like got her.
Guess they don't have fluoride in the water in
I
Estonia.
guess. Can you blame him?
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Maybe they do. I don't know. Like,
The-
this could be our cultural.
This is it. 7:08. We're done.
I think
Yeah.
it's more just that she doesn't have kid teeth because as a kid,
But they're gross.
Yeah, they're like
Okay.
brown and
They're
gnarly.
Yeah, like they're
Oh,
like
true.
yeah, they're
they're
like
just a
real.
little yellow in this one.
Yeah,
but-
which I thought was a bit of a flaw in the film because in the second one, with the first one, but
Yeah.
when she takes them off, those teeth are like
Okay.
way more than just a little yellow.
and the time hasn't
they're-
passed. She's getting
No,
adopted.
it
so-
would be like 6 weeks
If
later.
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So that is a big retcon then. Because,
yeah,
they-
like she definitely has fake teeth, but or veneers.
They
but
did not get decayed that quickly.
right.
she just looks like she smokes in this one or something. Just
Yeah.
a little yellow and
Right.
not kid.
Drinking some coffee.
Yeah, like when you see them, like they're gross.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is what I thought because I think I've seen clips or whatever of her
Yeah.
taking them out and they're gross. Like I've seen that. Like even though I haven't seen the first one, you know how you just somehow see
It's through
gifs or.
pop culture
Oh, yeah.
osmosis.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time.
But this is a horrible for the dad. So the dad is a good. The dad's a good person.
Yeah.
He doesn't know about the murder of his real
He
daughter.
just wanted his daughter back.
And this whole time he's innocent while the wife and son are playing this trick on him. You know, they're pulling
Right.
this con. And so you feel bad for him. And now he didn't save his. Well, the wife was bad, so you don't feel. But he doesn't know that.
Right.
And so his last moments are him being tricked, and I chose the wrong one. And now this crazy person's trying to hook up with me when my wife just died.
Right.
But no, I think I think it's a great scene when he's got his hands on the side of her face and his hands just kind of like touch like the sides of her teeth.
Yeah,
And then knocks the veneers out, and he's just like, "What is happening?"
And she says, "We can be together."
And he was like, "No." And then
He's
she
like, "What the?" He drops an F-bomb.
He's like, not with teeth like that.
"Yeah, what are you crazy?"
Yeah.
And then she doesn't necessarily like kill him, but he stumbles.
He falls backwards, and like I think the roof is wet. I think it's raining, or either way.
Either way, they're on a
he
roof on a
slips
fire.
off.
Right.
He slips off the roof, and then
Yeah.
he doesn't get the same curb treatment that Julia Stiles gets.
This is
He
the
just
impact.
his body crumples.
When you fall off a castle, it's
That's
still pretty
true,
fall
yeah.
high.
Yeah.
Of course.
Probably a 3-story or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
So the cops show up. This house, like we talked about, we knew this house was gonna go up in flames, and then she being Esther is back in I guess DFS. I guess is the best way to describe it.
But
And
they're basically doing the lead into the next movie
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh,
who's
she
gonna
lost her
adopt her? Who's gonna
family?"
do
and-
this?
yeah.
and then we know that poor Peter Sarsgaard.
He's sorry he's not a Skarsgård, so he's Sarsgaard. That's our mnemonic device.
It's
Wow.
your mnemonic device.
No, hey, that
Well, it
works.
works, so-
That's good.
Yeah, he's
Thanks,
sorry
Stephanie.
he's not
Thanks,
a
Stephanie
Skarsgård.
Tanner. That was pretty
Yeah.
good. That's how I learned what a mnemonic
You're welcome.
device was. Yeah, so we know that poor Vera Farmiga and Skarsgård.
No,
Sarsgaard.
he's sorry he's
He's
not
sorry.
a Skarsgård.
Sarsgaard is gonna
Yeah.
meet a similar fate, but I think he's a little creepier. I think because he almost.
He's like into it.
I think so.
Yeah,
It's
like
been a minute, but it's like not their daughter,
like
right?
he always plays so
He
weird
does play
that
weird.
Can't really tell if
that
he's
you
being
can't, you
weird.
can't tell if like is he down for this,
Right.
or is he just like this kind of weird, slightly disconnected?
Sure.
He's like Christopher Walken in that way, right?
I can
like
see that.
like you're like,
Or Nick Cage. He just has his own thing
Right.
to where
And he's got this weird cadence to how he talks, to
Yeah.
where you're just like, I don't know.
He was
He always seems like, even when he's playing somebody who's decent, he seems like he's pretending to be
to be
decent,
good, to be decent,
right?
Yeah,
Like
right,
it's so it's like, which was also part of what gave you the weird vibe in the first one, because you're just like,
Is he
wait,
into it?
is this what like? and then you immediately feel like you're the weirdo for even thinking.
What was I
something
thinking?
Like,
Oh wait,
maybe he's in an Edgar suit.
I made that joke the other day, and nobody got it at my house. I was like, "What do you?" Somebody said something about sugar water, and I was like, "What do you like, Vincent? Vincent D'Onofrio?" They're like, "What? Get out of my house!" And that's how this movie ends. It's like the social worker and a nurse are talking. They're watching her paint or draw a picture, and I think that's how the movie opens.
Yeah, do they? I was wondering if they recreated the beginning of the last
I think
one.
it's been a while since I've seen that, and I should have rewatched it.
I just rewatched, but I don't remember how it opened.
It's I think it was almost like an Annabelle comes home.
So she would have a lot of money coming
Creation.
with her. I mean, those parents were loaded.
yeah, but did she get?
But the only way to have to get access that money is to go back and claim that you're the daughter. Where if she claims she's the daughter,
But if there's nobody,
Well, they
there
know
to,
she's the
if there's
daughter.
nobody there to
The-
prove that you're not the daughter,
The daughter,
Yeah.
she came from the house on fire. Her parents died in a fire. They know that. That money would have to come with her.
probably.
yeah, I
She
don't
doesn't
know.
have to prove it. Everyone thinks she's the daughter.
And there's nobody
You know
left
what I
to
mean?
say that she's not.
Right.
Besides
I mean,
the
she's
cop
the
was-
last-
Yeah, I mean that would be
The cop or the therapist,
Yeah.
right? Like those are the two that.
that'd be a big gamble, though. That's a
What-
lot. I mean, eyes turn on you when there's that much
But
money,
she's
and
a-
you're the
True.
only survivor.
But
of
she's
the
a
house.
kid, though. The
Yeah.
adults, the police. I mean, they just legally, she's
Right.
the heir to that money. So I mean, I just figured they would set it up for her. Apparently, she dies too early to claim it because she's a kid and it would go into a trust.
Oh,
but
that's
Yeah.
fair.
I was
that's
just
fair.
saying that, like,
Yeah,
this-
maybe that's maybe maybe she's killing time because it's in a trust.
because
so-
she would get when she's
Now
18.
Vera
it would
Farmiga
just-
gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works
I don't
out
know.
great.
What do they do in that situation? You adopt a serial killer posing to be a rich
Well,
heiress.
no, because Vera Farmiga kills her, but she kills her by proving that she's not Esther, so she would no longer have a tie to that
There we
money.
so that money goes to some
Stupid Vera Farmiga.
cousin, the dad or the mom's
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right,
the,
right.
government, the government gets it
No,
well, it would go
doesn't.
to
Does
a
it
next.
really?
It would go to a
if there
Brother.
if there is one. Like we don't
Oh.
know.
right. No,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. I mean, if there isn't,
Man, I wonder how often that happens.
A lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why wills and estate planning are very important, people.
Muy
That's the
importante.
whole reason behind this episode. So
Get your affairs in order.
This is sponsored by LegalZoom.com.
use promo code Real Spoilers at checkout.
But yeah, I think that like we talked, it's on Paramount Plus. I think you can get like a 7-day free trial,
If you have Walmart Plus, it's free for a year, which is a
Oh,
nice
really?
savings. Yeah. So
but you also get Showtime.
that's
Paramount and Showtime are merging,
Yeah.
but I
For
don't
extra
know
money,
if it's
yeah.
happened
Yeah,
yet.
it's for.
It
I
is.
think
It's for extra. It's $12.99.
But like,
$12.99.
I thought Paramount Plus and Showtime were merging. Like, not they have this
Oh.
promo deal, but I thought I read that they were merging.
Is
I
Paramount buying Showtime?
I don't know.
I don't think so because
Can
I mean
Paramount
maybe it
buy
has
anything. They don't. They've got a parent company, right? They're not solo.
Viacom, CBS Viacom.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I mean,
Couldn't
I
be
just
any worse than Warner Brothers
because
Discovery.
the other day they just popped up, so I presume it's part of the new deal. It just popped up and said, "Do you want to add Showtime?"
Yeah.
It's $12.99.
So I
total.
signed up. I got a free trial, and it said for $12.99 you could add all of the Showtime stuff.
Yeah. So for Walmart Plus, if you have that, it's like $100. I think it's $10 a month, but you get free delivery and stuff from Walmart, and then you get a $60 year subscription to Paramount Plus. So I mean, it's a really good value for $120 if you want to get your groceries and stuff delivered from Walmart for free.
And also, if you get Showtime, you can watch Yellow Jackets, which I
There you
cannot
go.
recommend enough.
That was a good
It
one.
was great.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I've
Oh, it's
heard very
fantastic.
good
Oh, it's
things.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys would dig it.
But they got a lot of good movies and shows on there.
Do they?
Yeah.
I'll have to flip through it. There you go.
Yeah, well, there's
Go
that
watch.
one.
Honestly, go watch it.
This
Like,
movie was a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
I liked the first Orphan despite myself. I spent the first 90 minutes of an hour and 50-minute movie being like, this is kind of dumb, and then at the end being like, okay, this was kind of awesome. And then I thought I totally went into this like, why are we doing this 13 years later?
Right.
Like this has no right to be as good or as fun as it was.
None whatsoever.
Like I fully expected to despise every minute of this film.
Yep.
And
Same.
this is why you watch them. Sometimes they surprise
They
you.
sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a cash grab. 13 years later trying to cash in on IP, and sometimes they've got a story.
Yeah.
And they did with this one.
And I think this is the same creative team too.
Yeah, so it's
the
different
first one.
director.
Okay.
But like I think the guy who wrote it is the same guy. Yeah.
And it's also
I think she helped the actress that plays
Oh, really?
Esther had
Isabelle
some
Fuhrman.
I did want to mention the production studio, which was a dark. It's not Ghost House. It was the other one, Dark Castle, which were like a really big horror movie like production company in the early 2000s, I think.
Oh,
Right.
they came back?
Well, yeah, and I'm trying to think of like they did like the House on Haunted Hill remake, which is really good. Like that's a good little remake with Ty Diggs. When he was popular. Yeah.
I don't think that's early 2000s. I think that's 90s.
It is 1999.
Yeah.
And then Orphan was 2009, and then this was 2000. But they were like in the middle of that horror boom in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
With like Ghost House and all that stuff. But it's fun to see. I saw that logo. I was like, oh dang.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what to expect. Maybe they did 13 Ghosts,
Okay.
which was fun. Like
Wasn't that a Scooby-Doo episode?
Yes, but like it's with Tony Shalhoub and Shannon Elizabeth when they were popular.
Isn't that Matthew Lillard?
Matthew Lillard as well. And if you haven't seen
Scooby-Doo. I told you it
There
was
it is.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, that's exactly
That's a
I-
series, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
I
Yeah.
highly recommend the remake of 13 Ghosts. If you like this,
After Matthew Lillard, there's another remake, or that is a remake?
that the 13 Ghosts with Matthew Lillard is a remake.
Okay.
They actually the fun gag with the original one is you had lenses, and
Yeah.
when they would tell you put on the glasses,
You would see different
you would
things?
see ghosts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was like
Okay.
the original gimmick of the first movie.
What year? How old is it?
Oh, it's black
80s?
and white. No, it's
Oh,
the
it's
original
a-
one's like black and white.
Okay.
It's great too.
This film was directed by William Brent Bell and written by David Coggeshall, David Leslie, Johnson-McGoldrick. That's a name.
Yeah,
Story
that
by-
sounds like a law firm.
Yeah, four names. And Alex Mace, story by Alex Mace. And I just wanted to mention the only thing about this that I liked the movie a lot, like I said, but I didn't think it was very scary. It was more of a
More of a thriller.
Yeah, the kills
Yeah.
were more like, to me, like action, like, oh man, that's a crazy kill. But I don't think the only scary moment was in the beginning when that therapist, there's a flashing red light because she's escaped, and then it goes dark, and she's like, hey, little girl, do your parents work here? And it goes black, and then the red light shines, and she's right in her face. Like, that was
Yeah.
a scare, but throughout the movie, I can't
Yeah,
think of many.
I don't think it's particularly scary.
No.
It's more of a psychological thriller.
I think this is the
with graphic kills.
this is
Yeah.
the gory 80s VHS era
Yeah.
style.
But if
Also, they did Dark Castle did Ghost Ship. If you haven't seen that, watch the first 10 minutes. And it's
My
the
daddy worked on a ghost ship.
It is the greatest first 10 minutes you'll ever see in a horror movie.
What? No, that's a huge
promise.
claim.
I promise you. Just watch the first 10 minutes of Ghost. It may be first 5. It
Okay.
is astounding.
Okay.
Yeah,
Carl Urban's in it?
sure. Carl Urban was in all kinds of stuff
All right,
before he
that's
was
cool.
in The Boys. Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at Joey Butts, BUTTS21. That's also how you know it's me, because the robot voice said Twitter and not Tweeter.
Oh, see?
that's
And
how
you would
you
think
know.
that the robot voice would say things wrong.
No, I do. The real one does.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter. Oh, am I real? Am
Now,
I
wait a
robot? See? You'll never know. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, Sykes is killed by the police.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we always